Okay, great. So anyway, so Mercedes-Benz Places, obviously you guys know the brand. It's a very strong brand. Worldwide, it's very much so recognized. Anywhere you go, it's a very understood brand when it comes to luxury, right? And not only that, but right now it's very popular are the car brands. You have a very successful building, which was the start of our car brands, which is Porsche Design Tower, that was designed by Gil Deser. Bentley, which he's also selling as well, Aston Martin, which was a phenomenal success, and now we have Mercedes-Benz Places, and it's been a great success. So we basically launched in the beginning of March, and we're about 50% sold of the South Tower. There's two total towers. Right now, I'm going to show you really quick what's for sale. So the tower on your right is what we're selling currently, which is floors 32 through 67, and then on the which has 390 units in the south, and then the balance of the 790 in the north, which includes 4 levels of studios that we're going to announce in the next couple of weeks. So please, you guys are like the first to hear it. We haven't decided exactly what we're going to do in terms of how we're going to operate those units, but we will have a soft release of studios in the North Tower because we're currently completely sold out of our studios in the South. So what you have here is the 32nd floor through the 65th floor. You have the amenities for the residences on the 41st floor. You have a pool on the rooftop terrace on the 65th floor with a full bar and lounge area that you can order food and drinks to the pool. So it's a very service oriented building. Okay, and then beneath us, you do have some commercial components. You have we're going to have a 175 key luxury hotel ran by Starwood, which is the same company that runs one hotel. And then you're going to also have two major restaurants. I'm talking like sexy fish style restaurants. There's going to be like something along the lines of like a Carbone. We're thinking about maybe putting in a steakhouse, and they're going to be more than likely a very branded, a strong branded restaurant, and not only branded, but something that's going to make the neighborhood pop, right? So what JDS, which is the developer, what he's notorious of doing is creating these micro neighborhoods within these bigger neighborhoods. He's done it in Manhattan. He did it here in Miami Beach with Monad Terrace. So he's very familiar with how to go left when everybody's going right. Everybody right now in Brickell is building along the water. They're at certain price points. Michael had this opportunity to, which is Michael Stern is the owner of JDS, had the opportunity to build this magnificent product in a very special part of Brickell, which is considered West Brickell, and we'll talk about the neighborhood in a minute. So it's a very, very strong product. We're really, really excited. The brand Mercedes, obviously, I'm not going to sell you on that, but I want to talk a little bit about how involved Mercedes-Benz is. They're very much involved, okay? So when it comes to design, how the units look, feel, the colors, everything is approved by Mercedes-Benz. So they're almost acting like a partner in this deal. So it's not just us, getting a brand and running with it and do whatever we want. We're actually, working together with Mercedes-Benz very closely in terms of design and operation wise, how things are going to flow in the building. So you'll understand that more and more as we go on. So very important to understand, JDS, our developer, Michael Stern, they've been around for a very, very long time. They built Monad Terrace here in Miami Beach. They were partners in Eco Brickell, Eco Aventura. They're also the same developer that's building Dolce Gabbana, which is also located in Brickell. This tower that you're looking at right now is from a building they built in New York that overlooks Central Park called 111 West 57th Street. That's in Manhattan, and they also are very famous for building the Copper Tower, which is just a spectacular building in Brooklyn. On top of that, our other partners is Shop Architects. So it was very important for Michael to bring in an architectural firm and an interior designer that has no Miami influence, and that's who Shop Architect is. They are the same architects that built 111 West 57th Street, and also what you see here is one of their latest projects, the Berkeley Center, that they also designed, and they were the architects behind that. The firm behind our interior designers is Woods Bagot, very famous, world-renowned interior designers. The most recent project that they completed was this gorgeous hotel located in London called the London Air. It's an absolutely stunning hotel. It's probably one of the nicest hotels in all of London. and it's just a very special building. And the interior designer, Woods Baggett, made a very big change to the neighborhood where London area is with their interiors. And then now you're starting to see that, and you're going to see that here with Mercedes-Benz. Another big thing about our product that is so people need to understand is that our outdoor space is what really sells us. Everybody right now is focused on the brand. I love my brand. I love Mercedes. But there's more to it. It's not just a brand. What we have is an actual very strong product. Part of that strong product comes the lifestyle and the livability of this building. We're sitting on a massive lot. It's an entire city block located on 11th Street and 2nd Avenue. And one of the things that we're doing with the city is we're building out Southside Park. So we're going to have the two beautiful towers, and then on east of us, there's going to be a massive park, and we're going to have the most amount of outdoor space in all of Brickell. So no other project has the amount of outdoor space that we have, because we have this park component. And the landscape architects is a company called Field Operations that's going to be handling all of the outdoor space for us. It's a magnificent piece of land. I highly recommend anybody who's in the Miami area that is even considering Mercedes-Benz. If you're sold on the brand, wait till you see the lot. And once you see the neighborhood and the lot and what we're doing, we don't have any big neighbors. So that means our views are basically unobstructed. The biggest neighbor we have to us is on the east side, which is Axis, and it's about 200 feet away. So it doesn't really affect us. And then from the north, south, and west of us, the biggest tower near us is like 18 stories. So our units starting on the 32nd floor basically have no obstructions. It's a spectacular product, and it's because we don't have any major neighbors, and obviously we have the most amount of outdoor space in all of Brickell. My development firm is called Sirhan Development. We're based out of New York, and we're slowly but surely taking over the development world here in South Florida, starting with Mercedes-Benz, and we have a couple other projects coming in the pipeline. Brickell, obviously, I won't spend too much time here in Brickell. I think Brickell sells itself. The most recent addition to Brickell is a company called Citadel. There's a gentleman named Ken Griffin who has the biggest he's probably one of the most influential people in the financial world, all over the world. When it comes to the stock exchange, I think the Citadel touches like 90% of transactions that happen go through the fingers of Ken Griffin. And he moved from Chicago and moved his entire firm to Brickell. So they're going to be building 1,000-story building, 1,000-foot building, right next to the Jade on Brickell Bay Drive. And it's going to be an entire office building where they will have their headquarters. You have other people like Amazon that are moving their headquarters to Miami. Most recently, Jeff Bezos moved or bought a bunch of land in Indian Creek. And that's a big thing with Miami. And that's where I think Brickell right now is still very undervalued. And I feel like all the people that are coming from the Midwest and New York think that it's still cheap, that the dollar per square foot is still very affordable. If you compare us to a Manhattan, for instance, Mercedes-Benz places, we're blended at $1,500 a foot. In New York, you can't buy a parking space for $1,500 a foot. So let alone an entire condo, a one-bedroom apartment in near Central Park, where 111 West 57th Street is. It's like a $5 million apartment. Where here we have one bedroom starting at $1.1 million. And our studio lines, when we re-announce those, are going to be lower than that. So we still have it's still a very low entry point to get into entry barrier to get into the building. So Brickell, I'm not going to tell you any more on that. It's the most important town in the entire country, if not in the entire world, just because of who's doing business with us. So what we're looking at right now is our map. Here's where we're located. This is 2nd Avenue, and this is 11th Street. If you're familiar with Brickell, it's the same corner where the fire station was that has a big chicken outside. That's where we're located. So it's like a Brickell monument. It's that big chicken that sits outside of a fire station. We own that entire block, and we're going to be constructing those two towers there. So from a location standpoint, logistically speaking, very easy to get in and out of Brickell. Here is Samson Hammock Park, which is a state-owned park. You'll never have obstructed views facing south. And then into proximity, just to kind of talk about our competition a bit, we have the Cipriani lot that sits right here, just for reference. They're selling at north of $1,800 a foot. So just 3 blocks away, we're at $1,500 a foot. So one of the biggest things that we have is future value. The future value of this product, in my opinion, is probably the strongest product in all of Brickell, because you're still buying at a very low entry barrier at $1,500 a foot. Where then you have things like Mandarin Oriental that's selling here in Brickell Key north of $2,000 a foot. You have Ora that's selling here at like almost $1,900 a foot. So right within proximity, you're at a very strong price point. Okay, the building itself, it's timeless, it's spectacular. The design really creates what I call a unique buying experience. So you can see here how there's like, it's like a Jenga set. You have pieces sticking out, sticking in. And what this creates is a very unique buying experience. So for instance, on this level, which is the 3rd tier, you have only, I believe it's only 12 of the same line. So if you buy a unit with us, you're basically buying anywhere between 8 to about 14 of the same style units. So you're never going to run into a situation where you're running into these longer lines. So for instance, in traditional construction and pre-construction in condo world, they'll have floors 12 through 51, the 01 line that's used like a corner unit, that it's the entire unit all the way up. And the reason why they do that is because it simplifies construction. Well, we're going a completely different direction, and we're giving our general contractor the biggest headache by having to constantly switch floor plans. So these floor plates switch every 3, basically they're 3 tiers, both in the north and south. So when, for instance, here you're dealing with only 8 on the 32nd floor to the 40th floor on both the north and south tower, whatever floor plan that you buy, know that you're buying 1 of 8. So it creates, again, a very unique buying experience. So when it's later on down the road, you're getting ready to sell, you know that you're not competing with 20 other of the same units. And if you ever decide to rent long-term, you know that you're not competing with 20 other units. You're competing with a very particular unit, 1 of 8 or 12 at the most, okay? This is the arrival experience that's in the South Tower. I mentioned to you earlier that there is 2 towers plus a hotel component. They're all going to have their own entrances and their own elevator shafts. So it's very important to understand that the hotel component and the residential component, they're not going to commingle with each other. Only on the amenities level, which would be 4 levels of amenitized space that you as an owner will have access to, the hotel component, but the hotel guests do not have access to the private residence amenities, okay? The park, which is what I think is our biggest selling point, this much outdoor space does not exist anywhere in Brickell. We're going to have a basketball court, a paddleball court, a dog park, a water feature, a kids playground. It's everything under the sun. And when it comes to green space, I think now more than ever, people are looking to, be more what they call grounded. Now people are like taking off their shoes and walking around barefoot in the grass to become grounded. I do it. I have a beautiful backyard. Every morning I step outside and I put my toes into the dirt. And people are looking for that. People want to connect more with nature. And in such a concrete jungle that Brickell is, this is something that's like a fresh of breath air. It's so nice to have this much outdoor space. Imagine coming downstairs and being able to walk around in a park without having to get in your car or cross the street or get on a train. It's actually physically downstairs. If you wanted to have your cappuccino downstairs in this beautiful park, you could be in the green space, which is something that it's one of one. Nobody else has this feature in all of Brickell. This is an example of what the outdoor space will look like. It's gorgeous. All this outdoor space. Very, very nice. The amenities, we're going to have the most amount of amenitized space in all of Brickell as well, over 130,000 square feet of amenitized space. We're going to have a cafe. There's going to be 2 major restaurants. There's going to be a cocktail bar, a restaurant, a residence lounge, which is on the 65th floor that connects you to the pool, which will have a food and beverage component. There's going to be a private screening room. There's going to be a kids room. There's going to be a Mercedes-Benz racing simulator room. So if you like F1, if you're an F1 fanatic, this is the building for you. We're going to actually have it built out where it feels like you're in an F1 car, and it's this whole machine. It's like $150,000 to replicate this machine. And we're doing it within our building. It's going to be like an adult arcade for those racing car enthusiasts. There's going to be a recording studio for podcast and music. There's going to be an outdoor dining experience that the residences will have, 24-hour concierge service, and then my favorite, the fleet of Mercedes-Benz cars that you as a resident owner will have access to. Okay, here's a little rendering of what the lobby will look like in the South Tower. In the South Tower, you're going to have 6 elevator banks. In the North Tower, you will have 4, and then the hotel will have 4 as well. So lots of elevator space. The screening room, which is private for the residences. Here you could rent it out, host an event, watch a movie, watch a fight, a soccer match, whatever you'd like. The recording studio, which is pretty cool. Now that everybody's doing podcasts, I started a podcast and didn't finish it, but I think that the more and more people are looking for the audio experience, and we have that ability. So if those who have podcasts, you can definitely record one here, or if you're into music, we're having a huge this entire studio that you could use as a resident owner, not for the hotel component. Here's the private rooftop residence lounge located on the 65th floor in the North Tower that will have the connectivity to the pool. So here you'll have, at that bar, you'll be able to order food and beverage and have that luxury experience like if you were in a hotel or a spa. Really, really nice. This is not common. So if you look at all of Brickell, there's not many buildings that have this true dining experience in the pool. So where there's not that many buildings that have the food and beverage component in the pool areas that are not hotels. Although we have a hotel within us, this section is a residential, has its only residence. Okay. Now, this is where you start to see some of the hotel experiences happening in the wellness deck. We're going to have series of saunas, hot tubs, dry tubs, infrared rooms, plunge pools, jacuzzis, cabanas, Himalayan salt rooms, aromatherapy rooms, a steam room, a fitness center. It's very wellness driven, and it's multiple floors. So this is where you're going to find in total, with all the residential component and this component as well, over 130,000 square feet of amenitized space, the most amount of amenities in all of Brickell. Okay. Here's what the gym will look like. Spectacular product. Yeah. The units, we're going to talk a little bit about the units. At the very least, the balcony depths are going to be 5 feet. There's some units that have over 1,000 square foot of outdoor terrace space. So for those who are looking for an outdoor experience in your condo, we do have some units on the South Tower that have massive terrace spaces. And then you're going to have 10-foot ceilings, beautiful glass, floor to ceiling glass, 10 feet, absolutely stunning, which is what you see here. Miele appliances throughout. Okay. You have, wood flooring it's very rare in this market right now. You don't see it too common, but you're starting to see it with the more higher end stuff. This is an engineered wood floor, so it allows for the humidity to really not be beating up the wood. In Miami, it's very difficult to have wood. There's really only one style of wood that works for Miami that's actually illegal to buy. It's a native tree called Miami-Dade County pine, and it's one of the only pieces of wood in Miami that allows for it to be very humid. And you'll see that Dade County pine in some of the older houses in Miami. It doesn't warp, it doesn't bend. It's resilient towards water and humidity. But unfortunately, we can't buy that anymore. So we've resulted to going towards this engineered wood flooring. It's very thick, very heavy, but it feels phenomenal in the feet. Okay. What the rooms are going to look like. All the rooms do not come with furniture, and they do not come with window treatments nor closet space, but they do come with flooring throughout. Okay. The kitchens, you have 2 different options. You have a light finish, which is what you see here. Okay. Which has the light oak kind of cabinetry. It's a very gorgeous wood outlay. And then the countertops is what's called a Virginia black granite. It's like a matte granite, spectacular, stunning piece of stone that you're going to see here. And then in the background, you see this little thing in the background. This is where the unit becomes a smart ready unit. This will be your connectivity to the concierge service that you'll have at your fingertips 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You also have a dark finish, which is what this walnut colored cabinetry is, with a limestone countertop, which is stunning, absolutely gorgeous. You start to see more of this limestone in spec homes. So the bigger you know, 7, 8, $10 million properties, you're starting to see developers use the limestone. It's a timeless stone. It's very resilient, but it's very expensive. And it's a stunning matte finished stone. It's absolutely gorgeous. And that's what we're going to have as a finish as well. You're going to have two different options for bathrooms. As of right now, we have a dark option, which is what you see here. And then my favorite, the lighter option, which some of the units do have the glass component to the balconies, which is really, really nice. Get a lot of natural sunlight. And if you notice here, this has a wet room, which is basically a shower, and a true soaking tub, which is very, very nice. You have both the best worlds. Second baths, an example of what the second baths are going to look like. And what has been a very big hit has been the powder room. So I have the 06 line, and I want you to write this unit down. The 06 line, from the 52nd floor through the 67th floor, we have 1 bedrooms that were originally 1+10s, but we're converting those into a 1.5. There's a big demand for people who are buying 1 bedrooms that want a half bath. So we saw an opportunity, and we've completely changed the dens into a powdered room, which is something that's very, very nice. And this is what the powdered room would look like. This is something that's great. If you look at the profile who's buying with us, it's a lot of people who are buying this as a primary residence or a second home. And then those investors that are looking for the longer returns, you can rent these out twice a year, minimum 6 months. Okay, that's the rental restriction. There's really two dominant views. We have the northwest views because you have the sunset, which is stunning at night. If you're into entertaining people, this is where you want to entertain, where you have the sunset. You're able to see the sunset. My favorite view is the southwest, but the northwest, which would be probably the least favorite for most in terms of if you had to rank them 1 through 10, this would probably be at the bottom of the food chain, and it's still a gorgeous unit. I don't believe that we have a bad view. And then the most dominant, which in my opinion is the southeast, south, and southwest, because you have a lot of open water here. This is where Samson Hammock Park is. To manage your expectation, this is where the Cipriani lot will go. So this view on lower floors will be compromised, but this is our lowest floor on the 32nd floor, and it still has spectacular views. The majority of what's zoned here is single family, and then around us, the biggest building, I believe, is only 18 stories tall. So it's, you know, facing south, you have nothing to worry about. We do have a building that's directly south of us, and I believe it's only 8 stories tall, and it's pretty new. So you're not worried about, it's a big multifamily building that is recently built. It was built in the last like 5 years. So it's you're not a worry about having it to be knocked down and then, you know, reconstructed something bigger. As of right now, it would cost way too much money to demolish that, and it makes no financial sense to whoever would do that. And that's basically it. Right now, we're at contract. We're already under construction. We've been about a year into construction. We have the piles already done. We're getting ready to do the matte foundation pour, which should put us at right around 90 days from now. Within the next 90 days, we'll be doing our ground floor, then going vertical from there. We're expected to be done in the first quarter of 2028, and we're already under contract. So we're asking 20% deposits at contract, and then 10% within 180 days, because we're already well into construction, where some of the other projects that are in the area are still under reservation or they haven't broken ground. Here, we're actually under construction. We already have loans in place for construction, so we're financially in a very strong position. And then on a construction standpoint, we're doing very, very good. So that being said, price per square foot on the HOA, it's $1.53 a square foot. That includes everything minus your electricity, okay? And $1.53 in terms of what you're getting, I think it's a pretty good price point, especially the way that insurance cost is. The majority of that goes towards insurance, but from what we're going to be providing in terms of a service perspective, there's not much like it. There's not many buildings that have what we have at the level of luxury that we're going to deliver, and only having it at $1.53 a square foot. Other than that, I think we talked about the rental restrictions. We talked about the building itself, and that's basically it. That's all we got. Do you have any questions?
Wow, you covered everything. Honestly, I would say the notes. I have a list of Q&A, but I don't Q&A, but I don't even want to have to do it because you really cover everything. Yeah, the 1.53 HOA. That's one of the questions you really covered. I have a client that he also asked me, he has to leave now because he has another closing. He also asked me for, you mentioned the rooms that is gonna be turned in one bedroom and 1.5 bathroom, which is cool. He is starting for how much? 1.2 or 1.1?
Well, no, we have one bedrooms right now that are starting in the 1.1 range. The 1+10s that are going to be converted into a and have that half bath component, those are going to be starting right around the 1.4 range.
Okay, that one's 1.4 range. Okay, perfect. And I don't think I have more question on that. Let me see if so I mean, the good thing that you mentioned is that we have, they already start up most of the project, as you mentioned, to be honest with you, I love all the projects that I work in, as a flat. But you guys start already. That's amazing. So there is a lot of credibility in that product. And I know how long does it take a permit to start a project. So if you already had that covered, people can, that's why a lot of people, it's almost 50% sold out. So this is a very limited offer for the client to start, making a separation of unit. So the other thing is, how many units we are available? Probably about 300 or 200.
390 in the South Tower, another 300 in the North. Plus, we're going to have a bunch of studios that are going to be released, about 90 studios that we're planning on releasing in the North Tower on lower floors. That's going to be more of like the investor style units that are going to be great. The price point will be well under $1 million. We haven't announced it yet, so it's top secret. It's only like, try not to post this anywhere else, but we're getting ready to release those. And once those get released, it's a phenomenal price point.
Great. And the parking space is there is any parking space for the residents?
So as of right now, we're doing valet spaces only. On the bigger units, we are providing parking on a negotiation standpoint. So if there's a car enthusiast that wants to buy like the penthouse or a 3-bedroom, we can definitely negotiate a parking space. But because of our commercial component and the hotel components, we're a little bit limited on how many spaces we can give out. So we're doing valet only. We have almost 1,000 parking spaces in the building, so it's ample parking. And then we're going to have the ability to do valet, and then you can self-park as an owner, but you'll have to rent that from the HOA in whatever the market rental is, which right now it's like $125 a month or $150 a month in the average building in Brickell. It's probably going to be along the lines the same price.
Any storage available?
As of right now, no.
No. Great. Pets restriction. There is no pet restriction?
No, it's going to be common like other buildings. We have it in the condo docs. It's going to be, I believe it's 2 dogs under 60 pounds, like what you would see in an average luxury building.
Okay, great. And the developer fee, there is any
$1.75 developer fee, which is standard.
75. And you mentioned that the HOA $1.53, which cover everything minus electricity.
Correct.
So water, everything is included in that.
Correct.
Amazing. Yeah, you mentioned everything. You mentioned the developer name, everything. So I think the finish, it's amazing. I see that, and I like the white color too. I have my bathroom done like that. I enjoy it. I'm doing, by the way, my pool in the backyard. So it's cool to have the own resort in your house, and definitely
Exactly.
So, all right. You want to talk a little bit, and we're gonna make a pause here on this video, and then
Sure.
I know you have more appointment in just a second.
The ID, and then they come for somebody else. I'm gonna say, hey, this guy, I even have this guy's ID. You can't. There's no argument here. So we're very broker forward. So we want to make sure our brokers are taken care of.
Excellent. Yeah, I know. Excellent. Thank you so much for the time. Honestly, it's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Present this product to everybody. Okay, appreciate
Cool.
it.
Okay, guys. Buena suerte. We'll talk soon. Okay.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.